Are you a fan of Metal Gear? Do you like YouTube essays about video game lore? Do you like artistic redesigns of beloved characters? Do you not really fit into any of these camps, but want to listen to a random stranger get stupidly passionate about something you know little to nothing about? Hi, my name's Johnny, aka Jothix, and welcome to my channel, where today I'm going to be reinterpreting Metal Gear characters, improving their designs, and making them fit the physical attributes supplemented to them in the lore. Starting off chronologically, I'm going to be taking you all the way back to the beginning, in the Russian jungles of 1964, before nanomachines, before Metal Gears, and yes, before Big Boss. But before I get into that, I need to preemptively nail and board up the windows of this video, zombie apocalypse style, from the hordes of angry, sweaty video game nerds who intend to come in here to debate the semantics of a nearly 40-year-old franchise with me. First off, this is my interpretation of canon. That's why it says artistic interpretation on the title of this video. If you think I'm wrong or don't like my edits for some reason, don't comment about it. I really don't care. The first person to come into my comments and well actually me is going to go up to the front of their classroom and flip their card to red, alright? I'm not God, I'm not your mom, and I'm not Kojima. If you don't like my reasoning and you think I'm some angry SJW who's being cringe and ruining your top kek epic-based anime waifu, just remember that I'm a 20-year-old freelance artist who doesn't fit the criteria of people who can tell you what to do, and you really shouldn't care enough to send me hate mail. This isn't even my job. I made all of this in my free time, and I'm not here to argue with people about a passion project. This is a game. This is one of my favorite games. I'm having fun, you're having fun. We're collectively here to have a good time. So if you're not having a good time, maybe click off of the video and touch some grass, pet a puppy, kiss a baby, because I read comments and we'll see what you say to me, and I get enough of that on a daily basis. I promise. On to my second disclaimer, because I'm covering the ins and outs that have everything to do with Metal Gear, this series will contain spoilers, a lot of them. Luckily, this is a franchise that you can still enjoy with spoilers. I know I was digging through the wikis when the Phantom Pain came out to figure out what the actual fuck is going on, but if you want to experience the game raw and don't feel like buying a PS3, I would recommend picking up one of the cutscene movies on YouTube. They're anywhere from 4 to 6 hours depending on the editing. It's a great time, you'll cry your eyes out if you're anything like me, and you'll understand what I'm going off about in this video a little better. Go check that out if you don't want spoilers, but again, you really don't have to. It's kind of impossible to get into Metal Gear stuff without spoiling yourself because of the way the plot sort of squiggles over the timeline. But if you're worried about that kind of thing, consider this your first and last warning. And finally, if you like what I do, consider looking at my Patreon in the link below. I'll talk more about the benefits and stuff at the end of the video because I'm really excited to get on with this already, and you're probably sick of listening to the build-up to this video. So let's get this on the road, shall we? Well, let's buckle our seatbelts and read the safety manual so we can get on the road. I can't drive. I don't know what you do. I lost my metaphor. I need to explain the way I'm going to set up this video because it's one of the first of its kind on my channel. So the first drawing I'm going to do is going to be the character exactly as they're presented in the most up-to-date form in canon in that game. If you're like most of the population and don't entirely get what's going on in the inner machinations of Kojima's twisted mind, this part is going to help you because it's going to be where I explain this character and the canon information about them while I draw their on-model appearance. After that, I'm going to be making a new drawing, set up the exact same way, but this time I'm going to draw them in my own artistic interpretation and explain my reasoning the entire way. For the most part, my reasoning is going to be explained with facts and logic, so I'll be grabbing clips from the wiki or concept art or your mom to prove myself to you rabid nerds before I'm eaten alive by the people who completely ignored my previous disclaimer. If something I'm putting on the character isn't canon and is just something I made up because I'm an artist and I can do whatever I want, I'll tell you. And at the end of the video, I'll be putting the canon version and my version side by side so you can see the difference in flavor profile, I guess. Alright, now that I've gone on in the true spirit of Metal Gear and spent way too long getting to the title screen, please remain seated, strap in, keep your hands and arms inside of the vehicle, and no screaming due to panoramic restrictions because we're going to Telenoyarsk! So for the people following along at home, this video is about John Doe, aka Jack, aka Saladin, aka the man who sold the world, aka the legendary soldier, aka Vic Boss, aka the legendary mercenary, aka Ishmael, aka Big Boss. But this Big Boss isn't Big Boss yet. Right now, the title of Boss is under The Boss, so Big Boss is Big Boss before he became Big Boss. Right now, he goes by Naked Snake, the dumbest codename alive, and I'm not calling him that. So Boss Baby is a secret CIA guy trying to get a scientist guy from a KGB guy in the middle of the Cold War. In this, he's 29 and has an extensive military career in the Green Berets, as well as CIA's Force Operations X Division, otherwise known as FOX. Even before he kills the boss as a cover-up for Volgan's big whoopsie-daisy of nuking his own countrymen, and earns the title of Big Boss, from what we know from his medals, he's served in more than one war already and is a general badass. But why? How did this 20-something end up being a one-man army? Well, according to the MGS Saga Scripture, the unofficial Bible by AC Kid, which is from official Kojima-produced biographies sent to Millennium guidebooks, this is what the creator has to say about Snake Nake's undisputed backstory. Born as a third-generation Japanese American on Hawaii, Big Boss lost his entire American side of family during a Japanese Imperial Navy's attack during World War II. While his Japanese side of family was placed in internment camps, he joined a Japanese American infantry unit, the 442, in his teens. Wait, okay, hold up. First off, that's a way better backstory than the wiki was just telling me. In the wiki, it states that he's kind of just some guy until the boss shows up. Don't get me wrong, I love his story of training with the boss, but from the way canon currently holds it up, it's like this diehard soldier just popped into existence at 15, which doesn't sit right by me with how extensive everyone else's canon is. Second, Nakey Boy is the third-generation Japanese American? This guy. This blue-eyed guy? You're trying to tell me he's at least 1/4 Japanese? You're trying to tell me that this man was born on Oahu? This is your idea of a Japanese Hawaiian man. Okay, no. Metal Gear, we can do better than this. So let's do better. So right off the bat, the first glaring issue I'm going to be changing to bare-skinned amphibian is his body type. As shown repeatedly by the conversations between him and Paramedic, as well as one of the featured game mechanics of MGS3, Mr. John Jack Doe likes to eat. A lot, with little care for what exactly he's putting in his body, so long as it's keeping him fed. This can be attributed to his long-standing military career and his general survivalist mindset, where he cares a lot less about watching his intake and a lot more about having enough calories to stay alive. So what does that mean? Well, he's not going to be shredded. As a matter of fact, this guy's going to be a pretty typical muscle fat build. Those shredded abs he sports for most of 3 and Peace Walker, as you may know, just aren't realistic. That's the type of body type that models get from a thing called water fasting before a photo shoot. Since Little Boss here is based in surviving, he's not going to do that. Water is one of the most important things in a survival situation, and going without it for just 72 hours will kill you dead. His body's not going to reflect that, so let's pat some pounds on this guy. The second major change I'm going to be making to this guy is his race. In the game engine renders, he appears as a pale white guy with blue eyes and light brown hair. While I'm not saying that Japanese mixed people can't be pale with light eyes, God knows I'm one of them, I'm going to dispute the blue eyes a little bit. See, if you don't know, blue eyes aren't something usually present among Asian people and is generally a recessive trait. Now you might be saying to yourself, while drawing at a Punnett square to prove me wrong, Johnny, if he's a quarter Japanese, wouldn't that mean that most of his recessive traits are white? Well, hold your horses there, Buster Brown. Not only is he explicitly stated as Japanese, but they don't specify that his family is white, just American, which means there's a good chance this Hawaiian-born man is some degree of Pacific Islander, because he's from a Pacific island. So we can say this guy's a quarter Japanese, and somewhere around half to a quarter Hawaiian, and generously half to a quarter white at most. Gosh, you really feel like splitting hairs about race today, huh, Johnny? Yeah, well, everyone else feels like splitting hairs about my race every time they ask, what are you? So I don't want to hear it. The next and I think final big thing I'm going to be changing about Snakeit is his hair. I know, the snake family tree mullet is iconic. I'm not here to say he doesn't have a mullet, I'm here to say he has a different mullet than the one he's given in canon. See, the thing is, his hair is kept pretty well, and I just can't picture the guy with 3 brain cells on a good day spending that on something like brushing and maintaining his hair. This guy's a canon dumbass who gives next to no fucks about his appearance, and while a mullet isn't something you have to maintain, it's gonna look different from his if you're not maintaining it. So let's pull his hair down in more of a pentagon type shape that widens towards the base of his skull, and frizzes out based on where it should be combed with his fingers instead of any semblance of an actual hair product. Sure, it might seem nitpicky, but that's what this series is about. Now that the major changes are out of the way, let's move on to some of the minor rapid-fire details. Alright, this guy has lived a really rough life, and tends to patch up his injuries himself. Let's make that obvious by giving him a lot of general combat scars, as well as self-suturing scars and a slanted nose from breaking and resetting it himself. This guy spends a lot, and I do mean a lot, of time outside. Let's make an indication of that by giving him a tan across the face in places where the sun hits the most. As far as the rest of his body in this era, it's kinda debatable, because he covers up a lot, but we can at least say for certain that Baby's Day Out is not going to involve Zero packing him sunscreen. While I can't show this in this drawing very well because he isn't standing next to anybody else, I cannot stress enough that he is a short king. The wiki puts him anywhere around 5'9" to 6'2" in height, despite the fact that in the photo Venom Snake is given at the start of the Phantom Pain, Massive Manager is clearly wearing a shoe that has heels of some kind, and still comes up shorter than Kazuhiro Miller, who is roughly 5'10". If I had to guess, Big Boss is anywhere from 5'5" to 5'7", generously, which honestly makes the fact that Venom Snake is really tall that much funnier. Given the fact that he's an army brat in World War II era and tattoos are common among World War II soldiers, I think it would be cool if he had a tattoo. Nothing big or flashy, because he doesn't seem like the type, but I gave him a tattoo of the logo for the 442nd Japanese American Infantry unit he joined at 15. This not only shows his past and makes him fit in better with the military types of his era, but it also shows a cultural difference between him serving as an American and his Japanese family. For those who aren't aware, there was a pretty heavy stigma against tattoos in Japan at the time, because most of the people who had them were considered to be criminals. This was such a big deal back then that having tattoos can still ban you from Japanese bathhouses to this day, so I thought it'd be a cool way to show the fact that Baby Man is specifically Japanese American. The date on his tattoo is the year he would have joined at 15, since he was born in 1935, and the flowers are based on yellow hibiscus, the state flower for Hawaii. Because he gets shot in the face in the middle of the game, thus losing his eye, it would make sense if he also had scarring around the left temple due to the exit wound from the bullet, which isn't something I have seen a whole lot of in fan art. While this doesn't have any major canon reasoning, I have a hard time picturing him as hairless. I know this is mostly due to the game engine, but he's a big guy with a beard. I doubt naked is actually naked. So let's give him some body hair. Just add in the final touches, zoom out, and ladies and gentlemen, we have made a boy right there! And I think that's it for this video. Here they are side by side, both my drawing of him and by the books, as well as my artistic interpretation. Let me know what you think in the comments, leave a like, come find me on my other social media in the links below, and hey, if you like my art or what I'm doing here, want to see works in progress, scraps, and extras, decide on what I draw every month, or even get a special drawing of your own request from yours truly, why not check out the Patreon in the link below? I have tiers ranging from $5 to $75, as well as all sorts of aforementioned rewards and more. Supporting my Patreon helps support me, and supporting me means more stuff from me to you, so that I can do what I love and you can watch me do what I do. Thank you so much for watching this video. This is the first of hopefully many in the series. I've been setting up to do this for a literal year, and I am so excited to talk about Eva in my next video. But for now, I have to get to the rest of my work today, so I'll see you all later. Bye!